I'd like to introduce to you John Saw, who is the Executive Vice President and CTO of T-Mobile. In this role, he leads a diverse team responsible for end-to-end networking growth and evolution, including overseeing network architecture, product engineering, and technology labs, and advanced technology programs. John has also held senior leadership roles developing and deploying wireless technologies at Sprint, AT&T Wireless, Bell Northern Research, Netro Corp, and Nortel. He has earned a doctorate, master's, and bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from McMaster's University and has 6 U.S. patents in the wireless technologies. Accompanying him on the stage will be Martin Tantow, partner at Pegasus Tech Ventures. He is a serial entrepreneur, board member, and investor who has co-founded and exited 3 venture-backed firms. Martin is also alumni of London Business School. So please help me in welcoming John and Martin to the stage. Big warm round of applause, warm welcome. Thank you.
So John, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
To Startup World Cup Grand Finale.
Yes.
I know you had the chance to hang out a little bit at the event. Any thoughts, any takeaways?
I've never seen so many startups and entrepreneurs under one roof. The energy was amazing, and the speakers was amazing. Was very impressed with the pitches. And this is why T-Mobile is interested to join this year, just to listen to all the cool ideas. I think this morning, a lot of us heard what Vinod said, that the biggest disruption in the industry is going to come from you guys. It's not going to come from the big companies, and it's just so fun to be part of the energy. I can feel the momentum building with all the cool ideas.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, I mean, you had a long career in telecoms. You were the CTO for Sprint before the acquisition. Now you're the CTO for T-Mobile, responsible for core and technology development. Tell us a little bit about your career trajectory and how you got here where we are.
Sure. I grew up in Canada, and I went to school there. After grad school, I ended up working for Bell Northern Research and Nortel, designing cellular radios. One day I got a call from a headhunter and ended up moving to Seattle. This is a long time ago.
Okay.
Working for McCaw Cellular that soon became AT&T Wireless.
Okay.
We were working
so you've seen them all.
Yes, I was there for all the Gs. We were working on a secret project at that time. AT&T was just broken up by the government, so they were trying to find a way to reach your homes with wireless. That was the beginning of fixed wireless to bypass the baby bells. So it was an interesting project. A few years after that, I got a call from Craig McCord, and said, hey, don't waste your time in a big company. Come work with me to do a startup. And that was how my adventure in the startup started, with a small company called Clearwire. And I led a small team as a CTO to put together at that time a type of spectrum that was not used and people did not know what to do with it. It was a 2.5 gigahertz spectrum. It's very unusual. It's never been used for cellular. And of course, if fast forward today, it's the most valuable, one of the most valuable mid-band spectrum today. But at that time, it was not used, and we worked through all that. Clearwire was soon acquired by SoftBank and merged with Sprint. So I ended up being CTO at Sprint and built the first 5G network in this country. But the big opportunity was when we merged with T-Mobile. For one thing, I didn't have to commute to Kansas City anymore because Sprint was in Kansas City. I still live in Seattle, so I was a big proponent for the merger. But the result of the merger allowed us to put our spectrum assets together to build a pretty good 5G network. And today, with the same spectrum that I started off working in a startup, covers 300 million people today.
Very impressive, very impressive. Let's talk about innovation, right? Because this event is all about innovation, right? It's about startup innovation, it's about corporate innovation, it's about open innovation. And I've worked a couple of years, I told you before, at T-Mobile as well, long time ago. And I know that T-Mobile is about innovation as well. But I would like to hear a little bit from you how you see innovation in the sense of how can innovation actually drive business results and what's critical there?
Absolutely. I think we're preaching to the choir here because I think everybody here is focused on innovation. I think innovation is a lifeblood for a company. It should be a lifeblood for your startup. It gives you a leg up on the competition, and it gives you an edge to differentiate yourselves in the market. I really think that the hallmark of an innovative company is one that's able to solve a pain point for the customers and do it better than your competition. T-Mobile is a good example. T-Mobile is best known for what we call the Un-carrier moves that other carriers would not dare to try. We started doing this a few years ago, and one of the first things we did as an innovation, that at that time was a very small company, was to eliminate contracts. Because we know at that time that cellular customers hate contracts. So we said, all right, we'll just eliminate it. Our competitors and analysts thought that we were completely nuts and crazy because people will leave without a contract. Well, they were wrong. In fact, customers love it. They brought their friends and their families with them, and the business grew. And since then we thought, hey, well, let's do more Un-carrier moves and to disrupt the industry and to solve more customer pain points. One of the most popular Un-carrier moves is free international roaming. For those of you who are T-Mobile customers, you never have to pay anything when you use a phone in international countries. The joke is that AT&T and Verizon customers, when they come back from the vacation, would suffer from sticker shock, or they have to take a mortgage when they see the bill. We don't do this to our customers. One of the biggest pain point we solved, and the most expensive one, was to put two companies together, Sprint and T-Mobile. It's expensive. It was a lot of work, but we were able to put all the spectrum assets together to build the best 5G network in the world that is bigger and better than AT&T and Verizon. More recently, we came up with one of the latest Un-carrier moves was what we call above and beyond. Above means when you fly in the major airlines, and if you're a T-Mobile customer, you get free Wi-Fi. And beyond is the work that we're doing with SpaceX. There was a lot of talk about SpaceX earlier. We are their partner to actually bring satellite coverage to your cellular phone without you having to do anything to your phone. So when you are stuck in a remote area where there's no bars on your phone, you can at least get help with a satellite service with SpaceX.
You know what, I actually like that to my question. You can applaud.
Thank you.
To my question, on innovation, you have actually not just answered a technological innovation, but also a business model innovation.
Yes.
We talked about that yesterday quite a bit in our workshops. And it's actually good that you at CTO also come up with that,
yes,
mentioning the business model innovation. So, and especially a point for T-Mobile that made it, and that was a real game changer for T-Mobile. And I like that. Drawing it a little bit more to technological innovation, I'd like to know, and that's kind of most burning question actually for me, and let's see how you can answer that, where mobile telco is going to. Because I think also for many users, we've seen 3G and 4G and 5G, and there's 6G coming at some point, but where is mobile telco going? And mobile telco always had some pretty good margins. How is T-Mobile gonna be able to keep up with these good and high margins?
I'll be lying to you, Martin, if I don't say that I think the telecom industry globally is in a bit of a trouble. If you look at the last few years, global telecom revenue and the market cap for the largest telecom companies in the world has been flat. But at the same time, if you look at big tech, their revenue has grown 20% at the same period, and their market cap has grown more than 30%. So obviously, I think telecom companies have to do something different, right? If you want to maintain the margins and the P to E ratio that especially for T-Mobile, that we enjoy a pretty good growth P to E, we have to do something different. We just cannot sell phone plans and SIM cards and tablets all day long, right?
Exactly.
So one of the things we have to do as an industry is that we have to open up our network and abstract away all the complexities of a network and expose it in a way that regular entrepreneurs and startups and developers can actually build network capabilities into your products and services, especially with 5G, when you have really cool stuff coming like lower latency network slicing. But nobody knows how to use it today unless telecom companies are willing to open up the network. And at T-Mobile, we are doing that.
Okay.
And one of my selfish reasons for being here is to actually invite developers and startups and entrepreneurs to help me build new services and capabilities and disruptive ideas on top of our network as a platform. We spend $40 billion building our 5G network, and no amount of money is going to help us develop new services if we do not bring the village along. We have to build something bigger than ourselves. And I'm talking to the same folks in this room here who can potentially help us do that.
That's the right event for you.
Yes.
And that's exactly where I want to actually go with my next question. So you're responsible, as part of your role as CTO for emerging technologies, right? So
Yes.
You're dealing with startups every day. You're on the lookout of startups. You're here screening startups. What would be your advice for some of the startups in the room that are in mobile telco or any adjacent industries, and how can they also potentially work with you at T-Mobile?
You know, you need to solve a real problem. And you need to find a genuine solution to solve a real customer pain point. And in today's age, you need to make sure that your idea or solution has a high enough moat that GPT-4 cannot solve with a stroke of a prompt, right? I think you also need to focus on the customer, not on your board of advisors, but on the customer. T-Mobile used to have a CEO called John Legere, and he's most famous for saying, shut the F up and listen to your customer. So often we don't do that. As someone who came up through a startup, my other advice is that you have to be patient. And at the same time, you have to be relentless. It took me 10 years to convince the cellular industry to adopt the spectrum that we started working at Clearwire in the startup. I used to go to conferences like this where people laughed me off the stage, and the media will write crazy stuff about what we're doing. Sometimes I feel that I'm like Uber going to a taxi convention, because nobody understood the type of spectrum we were proposing, because it was not in the paradigm of how they've always built networks. Now, fast forward to today, it is the most valuable spectrum band in the world. Mm-hmm. The Chinese use the same spectrum for the largest cellular market as well. But it was painful to go through that, and you have to be patient. You have to have conviction. You have to be relentless. The other thing that I can think of is that you have to seek help from mentors. I mean, I love this conference because you have a lot of good speakers and mentors who can help you with good advice and insights. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of more new things to invent. At T-Mobile, one of my job is to make sure it's easy for us to work with startups. we know it's very hard for startups to talk to a big company like T-Mobile. You don't even know who to call. So we have programs, like we have our own venture fund, T-Mobile Ventures. We have our own accelerator program where we bring in startups based on certain themes. We have a lab.
What's that called?
It's called a T-Mobile Accelerator.
T-Mobile Accelerator,
right?
okay.
We have a lab actually called a 5G Hub that's actually a co-lab space where we have developers and entrepreneurs come in and test their designs. We have machine shops. You can build products in there, and you have access to every spectrum band that we have in a commercial network. We even have a developer platform called DevEdge, where you can actually develop services and do whatever you want with APIs that would expose to you from our network, and you don't even have to call us. You just have to, it's a self-serve, go to devedge.com and get access to our network to develop your next cool idea. So there's things that we're trying to reach out to this community.
And because we have a very international crowd, actually one of the most international crowds I've seen in a while here, you have that as well, for example, in Europe. The Hubraum accelerator in Berlin.
It's an accelerator in Berlin that Deutsche Telekom, our parent company, runs. And we do have a pretty big venture program there as well.
Exactly. Yeah,
so we do have a global footprint.
And you actually just mentioned also T-Mobile Ventures. I think you just launched your second fund this fall, I think September.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the vision of that fund, who you're looking for, and who do you want to invest?
Yeah, the second T-Mobile venture fund is focused on finding partners and startups who can be our partners as T-Mobile goes through the next phase of growth, focusing on consumer as well as the enterprise market. We had a first fund that was launched in 2020. It was very successful. And this time around, we just launched the second fund and focus on developers and companies that can help us leverage our 4 key assets: our network, our data, the 116 million customers we have, as well as our brand.
Wow, okay. 160 million. It's a good number.
Yeah, so that's a purpose for the second fund. We're looking for mid-stage to growth stage companies. But if you're an early stage companies, we will be willing to talk to you as well. Like I said earlier, we do have other programs as well, like the Accelerator, the 5G Hub, as well as DevEdge, that we can also work with you with.
Exactly. Yeah. So in terms of going forward, which technologies do most excite you? May they be from wireless, may they be in AI or AR, VR, or spatial computing, or smart mobility? What excites you most?
I think that there's so many. Obviously, my passion is 5G. I think there's a lot of capabilities, new capabilities with 5G that has never existed before. For instance, network slicing, that we would like to be able to expose to developers to use to create either a lower latency channel or a gaming slice for mobile gaming, right? So there's a lot of opportunities for new innovation in gaming, in how we deliver security to mobile devices. But if you pair 5G with AI, I think it's a very powerful combination.
What is that combination?
Well,
5G
I think 5G is a great enabler for AI.
Right.
Today, as all of you know, AI is growing by leaps and bounds for AI training. Right? That's where all the craziness with OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google is. Most of us don't really care for the training part of it because, we want to get pre-trained models that we can fine-tune, right? So the next big opportunity in AI is going to be in inferencing, where you actually use AI. And I believe that I think the next growth stage for AI is going to be mobile AI inferencing, where you actually have to use AI with your tablet, with your phones, with your robots, with your drone at the edge of the network, right? And that's where you need 5G. If you put the two together, I think I can see a future where you will be wearing your AI device on your lapel. In fact, one of the companies, one of the startups we invested in is a company called Humane. Some of you may have heard of the AI pin, right? Essentially, the AI pin is not a smartphone. It doesn't even have a screen. It's something you wear on a lapel with a clever combination of computer vision, laser technology, and hand motion. You communicate to your pin through voice, mostly, and it's powered by ChatGPT. So, Humane just started selling this product online, and if that takes off, you can actually put your phone in your pocket and be able to communicate through AI to something that you wear on your clothing.
Very good.
So that will give you a glimpse of the future of what mobile AI inferencing would look like, paired with a very strong 5G network.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
John, for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All the best. Hope you can stay.
Yes.
And Martin for coming, and thank you so much, Martin, for coming all the way from Germany to be with us. And we have some gifts of appreciation for you, John. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. And make sure and pose for that good photo op. Woo! Another round of applause. Thank you so much.